All right, we're live. And I'm sitting really close to the screen so that I can
Oh,
see.
yeah, how's that going, John? Actually, your webcam looks slightly out of focus now that I think about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think it can't focus
Yeah,
that
I might
close.
not be able to
If
focus
you
that
sit a
close.
little bit further back each week, though, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Like I can see. No, I don't know. I don't know so far how it's going. It's too soon to tell. I can't really see any measurable improvement, but my wife has been doing it. She has a really bad prescription. She's at like negative 15 in one eye, negative 13 in the other, somewhere around there. And she went to the optometrist this week for her regular checkup, and they reduced her prescription by almost an entire diopter in each eye. Now, I don't. She's only been doing it for a week, so she's never had her prescription reduced before. It's always increased. So who knows? I mean, it's not enough to tell, but it's promising, you know. So
Sweet.
yeah. I'll know pretty soon here. Like in 3 weeks, I should see an improvement. I've got an eye chart on my that I put on my whiteboard there, and and I can't make the top line. I can't see the E at the very top. So if I can start seeing that E, then I'll know. So
Sweet. Yeah, I'm very fascinated to hear how this goes.
yeah, it'll be interesting. If it works, it'd be pretty dang awesome. But so we'll see. I'm doing it every day, so.
Sweet. Low
Cool.
energy.
I think no one wants to jump in and go first. I'll break it up by talking about I did do the fasting last week
You
How'd
stuck
again.
that
with
go?
it?
Huh?
How'd that
I,
go?
I did it Friday right after the I continued on Friday. I didn't eat on Friday
Okay.
right after the Entreprogrammers, and then Saturday morning I tried to run and bonked again, and then and then about like maybe around 11 or 12, I started getting cold sweats, and I was like, all right, let's just eat. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, this is just not worth it. Like this experiment is done because even if it works from a physiological standpoint, from a mental standpoint, like it doesn't. Okay, so you're losing weight or you're gaining muscle mass or whatever, but you're brain dead.
Yeah.
Yes.
That doesn't
Yeah.
work. It's not going to work. So,
No.
of course now my new experiment is I'm eating an 80% fat diet and eating one
You,
meal a day still.
you should point out though that the fat you're eating is like the really good for you, healthy kinds of fats, like from meats and high fat sources of natural food. It's not like you're going to McDonald's and getting a super saturated fatty diet. It's
Well,
Oh man, now I
it's
want to go to McDonald's.
so actually, okay, so I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that, but I wouldn't have any problem doing that. It's the so the only fat that's actually bad for you is trans fat.
right.
There's two things that, as far as fats, like the latest studies that show, is trans fat is bad for you. In any case, it's never good for you. And then having a high balance of omega-6 versus omega-3, which most of us
Right.
do. Like usually our ratio is like 25 to 1. That's why a lot of people take fish oil. That's bad for you. But
Yeah.
aside from that, saturated fats are totally fine. There's no problem with saturated fats,
Yeah.
and
I,
it's
I
not
think I
like
meant to
hard.
say trans fat instead of saturated.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so I'm eating, like last night I went to Texas Roadhouse and ate a prime rib,
Yeah.
and a bunch of peanuts, which was
Because
perfect.
when I was like 5 years ago, I was 280 pounds, and I lost about 50 pounds just by eating steak and bacon and sausage and chicken all the time.
Yeah,
I mean,
yep.
I had a high vegetable intake as well, but the vast majority of my food was, high fat, not like lean steak, lean bacon or anything. I mean, full fat. I like a little bit of steak with my fat kind of steaks, and
Exactly. It's funny, but when I eat prime rib, I'm like, like there's nothing left of it,
Yeah.
right? My wife's like, "Do you want my fat?" I'm like, "That is the best part. Of
Yeah, it
course, I
is.
want your fat." But anyway, so it's like 80% fat diet, 17% protein, 3% carbs. So it's very much strangely very much paleo. Like it ends up
Oh,
being
yeah,
very
yeah.
very paleo diet. Not that I like buy into the whole paleo philosophy, but the diet seems to be. And I'm doing it one meal a day, so I'm eating these huge 2,300 calorie meals of like 6 eggs, 10 slices of bacon, 4 pieces of sausage, cooked in coconut oil and butter,
Yeah.
which is kind of fun. So, yeah.
Oh man, now I'm hungry.
We'll see. I'm actually tracking about a pound a day worth of
Nice.
loss, which, I mean, that seems a little too high,
But that's pretty common when you first start something like this, though. Your body is adjusting to it and it's going, and
well, remember, I was fasting 48-hour fast last week, so that's why I'm shocked to see pound a day this week.
yeah,
Which
that's a good
Yeah,
point.
and you were eating kind of. It wasn't like super high carb either.
Right.
So
No, I was also eating
Yeah.
fairly high. So one interesting thing, so with the ketosis that I figured out, because in the past when I did ketosis, I tried to be very high protein, medium fat, and no carb or low carb. But I realized that if you eat too high protein, it'll actually knock you out of ketosis because the protein there's a process called glucogenesis which converts protein into glucose, and then your brain and your body's running on glucose still. So you've got to pretty much be low protein as well, which I did not realize before. So now I'm doing it right and drinking coconut oil. So
You're drinking coconut oil.
nice.
anyway, so that's
this bottle.
I don't know if I could drink straight anything oil.
no, I'm not really
No.
drinking coconut oil. But I'm cooking everything in it. So.
Oh, there you go.
What's new with you guys?
So interestingly, my subscriber count for Watch Me Code is still going up.
Yay!
Wow.
Yeah, it's been what, like a week and a half, 2 weeks now since I
Yeah.
did my birthday sale.
Are they-
And sorry, go ahead.
Oh, are they coming in on the discount, or how are they coming
No.
in? Where are they
No,
coming from?
these are like full price $14 a month subscribers. I hit 423 total subscribers this morning. That's like 10 new subscribers since a growth of 10, counteracting the people that I've lost in that time since I did that birthday launch.
Wow.
And I think the main difference, the one primary difference, is that I've been talking about Watch Me Code on my mailing list again. Even before
Nice.
setting up
Shocker.
all of my drip campaign stuff.
You mean people who like you will buy your stuff?
Yeah, it's amazing. I know. So it's. I mean, I got nothing to complain about here. So, but
I wonder if.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I wonder a little bit though if it's like people spreading the word or if it's.
I actually I think another part of it. Now that you mentioned spreading the word, I do have my Watch Me Code series page updated quite nicely. But I've got 12 different series listed now, and it's a responsive site design, so it looks good on your iPad or your iPhone or whatever else. And that page, I've had that one page up for a week and a half, 2 weeks now, and it's already the third most popular page on the site.
There you
Oh
go.
wow.
So people are definitely liking that new page, and I think that's part of what's been driving some of the new subscriptions, along with me just mentioning Watch Me Code a number of times on my mailing list.
So people are finding what they're looking for more easily. And
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
driving sales.
Because it's previously, it was ridiculously hard to find the episodes in order that you wanted to watch for a given series. You had to go do a search for the keyword and hope it was the right keyword, and then hope that the videos returned in the right order, and it was kind of nightmarish and difficult. So this new series page that I have, it looks nice, first of all, which is kind of a miracle since I designed it. But it looks nice and it works well on whatever device you're on. and it makes it really easy to find the episodes that you want for any given series.
Nice. Nice shirt, by the way. I like the shirt.
Yeah, nice. Both wearing the drip shirt. But yeah, so along with that, I've got my best of blog posts and other things campaigns set up and working, already live in Drip now. Speaking of Drip, I have about 5.5 months worth of emails in here already. I'm doing one email a week on Tuesdays, and with that, I've got like 22 emails in here already, and that's like half of what I want to have in here. If it's even half, it maybe even more than that I want to put in here.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, so it's interesting to think about. 2 years ago, when we started this, I was really nervous about sending one email a week to my subscribers. I was sending like one a month, thinking, "Holy cow, I'm sending people an email a month. That's crazy." Starting Monday, when the day before this episode releases, I'm going to be sending an email every day, Monday through Thursday.
You and Ben settle.
Yeah. So I mean, And as soon as I figure out some unique and interesting content for Fridays, I'm going to add Friday into the mix as well.
So wait a minute. Hold on. I got to understand this. So you're sending an email every single day?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
And this is your sequence, your best of sequence?
No. So Monday is brand new blog post. Tuesday is best of. Wednesday is either new blog post or career tips, advice kind of thing. Thursday is Watch Me Code episode, and then Friday is nothing yet.
Interesting. I don't know if I would fill in. It'll be interesting you need to figure out a way to measure this to see how this works. I mean, I guess you'll be looking at unsubscribes, but unsubscribes aren't the only metric because who cares if you're getting unsubscribed if you're also making a lot of sales? Like,
Right.
So you'll have to kind of, I guess your metric will be weighing unsubscribes against sales.
Right.
And then, and I wouldn't say just sales, like you do have to pay attention to unsubscribes because there's a chance that you're going to cause some people to unsubscribe that would buy later on.
Right.
So you got to weigh that against how much immediate sales you're making. But that'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. It's gonna definitely polarize your audience into big fans of you and unsubscribers.
Right.
Right. Yep. Like everyone who's on that list, or I guess there's a third category: people who just don't read any emails, like just completely are lazy. They're basically the same as unsubscribers. They're not going to read your stuff.
They've mentally unsubscribed.
Yeah.
But I like the idea, like especially with you being the guinea pig instead of me, because I think it could really help you to build like a really really strong polarization, like I said, where people are like all about your stuff, and it's going to filter them out quickly. So
one thing, Derek, too. People won't complain. I think if you are upfront about this, I don't know if you're doing that yet, but
I am.
Okay, yeah. When I decided to go back to doing daily emails, for my list, I updated all my opt-in forms and said, hey, you're going to be getting emails from me 5 days a week. Is that okay? Just Ben Settle actually makes you click a checkbox.
Really?
Under his opt-in form, and then he actually does that and then double opt-in. So,
okay.
So he like really makes people jump through hoops.
So the way I do it right now, I've got my standard double opt-in, which is just, hey, thanks for your interest in the mailing list. Click this link to confirm your subscription, and then I set up my first email in my primary campaign, which is my Secrets of a Developer Entrepreneur campaign. I set up a new email in that yesterday. That is, thanks for joining me on this adventure. Here's what you can expect. Mm-hmm. And in that email, I outline the 4 days of the week and what those days are going to be.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it's not quite as upfront as what Ben Settle's doing.
Yeah.
But it gets people really quickly. As soon as they confirm that subscription, they're getting this email to let them know what to expect.
Yep.
And interestingly, a side effect of the way drip campaigns work, I've always used this secrets campaign as my primary mailing list marker, but I'd never had an actual email in the campaign. I just use it as a segment, basically. So I went in and added this first email to the campaign last night, and of course it sent this email to all 4,850.
Yes, I got it. I noticed that.
Yeah. So I've had 21 people unsubscribe just from that one email.
Oh, that's not bad though.
That's not bad. It's 0.4%, which is my
Yeah.
average. I average around 0.4, 0.5% of for any email that I send. It doesn't matter what the email is. I'll send an email and I average about that much loss.
You're going to want to make sure that your courses, or so one thing you want to do is for your courses where you're like where someone signs up, like the JavaScript this course,
right?
Make sure they're not getting the extra ones as well.
Right.
Like make sure that
done that.
Oh, okay, because that would screw you up.
Yeah, I did that quite a while back. I have a single automation rule inside of Drip so that when you complete any of the email courses, it puts you on to my secrets and the best of courses after that.
Nice.
Yeah. So this will be interesting. I think this is going to help drive a lot of traffic to the site again. I mean, I've in the last 2 months that I've been blogging twice a week, I've already been sending out three emails a week. Well, 2.5 kind of. But I've been sending out 2 emails a week for the new blog posts, and then on Thursdays, if you were subscribed to the Watch Me Code updates, you would get that email. So I'm only adding in 1 extra email on Tuesdays, but I'm also sending the Thursday Watch Me Code email to everybody now.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how that Watch Me Code email does, because that could be the thing that really that you're missing. Like we'll see what happens. But I mean, already it's exciting just seeing your subscribers grow so much. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm honestly kind of shocked and in a good way surprised that it's continued to grow over the last week. It's because these aren't people coming in with discount codes. I mean, these are people with just paying full price and signing up.
You've also learned something here too, which is you need to do these discounts like sales every once in a while because you get a nice big uptick. So
definitely. So yeah, that's about it for me. I spent the week working on this email drip campaign and getting all of this stuff set up that I just described, and I think it's going to be interesting, if not beneficial.
That could be said about a lot of things in life.
Yeah, I mean,
interesting if not beneficial. I like it.
Oh, so I did an interview with Matt Kramer this week as well for his podcast. So if you hit mattkramer.com, you'll see it on episode 15 of his podcast. And it's the whole interview was all about exactly what we just talked about. Well, not the whole interview. We started out by talking about the death of SignalLeaf, which, by the way, SignalLeaf is now completely 100% dead as of Wednesday, which Wednesday was the last day of September, but I waited until like 12:35 a.m. Australian time, and then as soon as I saw that, I went ahead and shut it down. So SignalLeaf is completely dead. Like, the code is deleted, all of the services are shut down. I've backed off on the plans that I was paying for. I've canceled database backup services. I'm reducing the amount that I'm paying to Keen.io. I mean, it's gone. There is nothing left of SignalLeaf other than the blog, which I think still has valuable content, and the homepage of the website, which just tells you, hey, this service is dead and gone. So that was actually kind of stressful on Wednesday, to tell you the truth.
Well, at least you got that monkey off your back now, right?
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, for the last couple of months, it's been a relief to not really think about or worry about Signal Leaf at all, except for the few questions that I got about migrating off of Signal Leaf. And then Wednesday, just that one last time of deleting all that code, doing that final push to production and shutting down services, and now it's like I can relax and not worry about that anymore and completely focus on Watch Me Code and my consulting work. It's a good thing.
I just want to make a podcast now called Interesting If Not Beneficial.
That could be a companion show to your tech problems.
Totally. Podcasting problems. Interesting if not beneficial.
I also want to give that to someone on a job review. Like, he's interesting if not beneficial.
I can totally see that. Welcome to the IINB network. We're good for you.
You could totally do your own loot crate called Interesting If Not Beneficial. It's a box of random crap sent to you every month, and I guarantee it's interesting if not beneficial.
There we go. I like it.
Wow.
I have to say, John, it's really funny seeing you lean in that close to the monitor.
I know.
I can't miss 2 hours of training. Oh, you know what's going to be interesting though, for our viewers who can do who are very scientific. Every week they can look at my video and they can measure my progress because they can see how far from the monitor I am from the video, and we'll see that it'll be conclusive proof. We'll see.
This experiment certainly is interesting. And there's the title for this week's episode.
Yes, I think I've arrived at it. Chuck
John
is looking
just
a little green giant today to me too. With
the camera pointing up from below.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, I've had this Logitech camera for years.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason now, it just anyway. Sometimes it works, most of the time it doesn't.
Yeah.
So you're actually watching me on my MacBook Pro.
Why can't I take my iPhone and plug it into my computer, right? Or have a Wi-Fi connection and let the iPhone camera be my webcam? I don't understand this.
I so want that. Then I can pan around my head.
Yeah.
Right. And iPhone cameras have or the new ones are 4K cameras. So why can't I don't understand why I can't do that. It doesn't make sense. Is it I guess someone could probably solve that problem with, maybe there is software out there, but I haven't seen it, so
I don't know.
It's just a software problem, right? I think if you did it over Wi-Fi, or even if you did it via USB, right? It should be able to. Can you programmatically? Cool. You should be able to access the camera on the device. I would think. I don't know, but.
Yes.
It's I just plugged into the Matrix, and yes, and I know how to do it.
Lifehacker.com.
I know Kung Fu.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Turn your iPhone, iPad, or iPod Touch into a webcam for your computer. $5 app from the App Store.
Really? Huh.
Yep.
I got to see how well that works, because if that works...
It's an app called iWebcam.
An imaginative name.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm buying the app right now. If I can find my phone, if I can see my phone.
There's one for the Android called
iWebcam.
Somebody needs to call John so he can find his phone.
Well, if his phone's not just outside of the range that he can see clearly.
Yes, he's actually holding it. He just can't see it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I had my grandma running around the house screaming, "Where's my glasses? I can't see without my glasses."
On her head?
No, she was wearing them.
Oh, nice.
On her eyes, wearing them. Time for your new prescription, Grandma.
Oh, man.
Wow.
That's like it just reminds me of we went on a trip as a family when we were kids, and my sister was having a complete fit. And at one point, she jumped up and down as hard as she could and went, "My feet hurt!" And we're like, "We're sure they do."
Well, the time when I was a kid, I called one of my cousins a crybaby, and she ran off to all of the adults upstairs, crying as loud as she could. They called me a crybaby! At which point, all of the parents proceeded to start laughing.
Nice.
It was bad.
Nice. The therapy sessions will be interesting. For
If not beneficial.
Yes. If not beneficial.
But it's interesting.
Hey, Derek, one thing I wanted to mention. So one thing that sometimes happens when you start emailing more like this is you get a bunch of sales up front and then things kind of level off.
Right.
So just be mentally prepared for that to possibly happen.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm kind of expecting that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of expecting that I've already hit all of those upfront sales at this point.
Okay.
Because I have been mentioning Watch Me Code more in the last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So people have already been seeing it. People have been signing up. I've had 90 new subscribers, and either what you just said is going to happen, or it's just going to be the slow, long game immediately because I've already had the upfront sales.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're still growing how many subscribers are you getting a month? Like 200-300?
About 200.
Yeah. So you should still. I mean, it'll probably slow down to
right.
2% of that a month or whatever, and as you grow your traffic. How's you blogging twice a week now?
Yep.
You're getting some pretty good traffic growth.
I've basically tripled my traffic since I started doing that.
Nice.
Not tripled, doubled. I went from 6 months ago or a year ago, I was getting about 9,000 hits a month. Then I started using Edgar to tweet, and I brought that up to about 15,000, and it kind of settled at about 12,000 for a while. And right now I'm getting about anywhere between 25 and 30,000 a month. I've only been doing it for 2 months, so I don't have a real good average yet. But it's 25 to 30,000 hits a month.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I think with the 4 emails a week with that best of, I should hopefully be able to bump that up to 35,000 without really doing any extra work at this point. It's just going to be all the drip automation to get people looking at old content again.
Oh, hey, do a guest post for Simple Programmer. I don't know why I didn't think of this.
Oh, right.
So now I'm doing all the posts. Just email my editor and get on the content calendar, and that should help get you some traffic too, because that's
Definitely.
yeah. And I could use a guest post, a good one, So
yeah, I can write about some ES6 stuff, which is a super popular topic right now.
Yep, that'd be awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could use some more technical content. So
right. I'll do that. So yeah, I typically have like 2 weeks worth of blog posts already written. I have all of next week's scheduled, and I have the 2 that I want to write already in draft mode, but I haven't actually written them yet. I know what I'm going to write. I just need to actually sit down and write them. So that's good. I'm 2 weeks ahead in my Watch Me Code videos as well. This series that I'm recording has been incredibly popular for architecting Express applications. It's basically building a real world app and deploying it. So it's been incredibly popular.
What happened? Did you discover cocaine or something?
I don't know.
Like all of a sudden you're like 2 weeks ahead of everything, and you're like,
eating.
I'm doing 2 blog posts a week.
Yeah. First off, I eat every day. No, I seriously think it's a combination of 2 things. It's having completely killed Signal Leaf. I've been able to focus for the last couple of months on Watch Me Code and on blogging since I killed that. But then also my son has at least stabilized, and we're not taking him to Fort Worth every week anymore. We're still trying to figure out what's going on with him. We're doing more genetics testing, and it's frustrating to the point where my wife and I have had multiple sessions of breakdown crying on the couch because we have no clue what's going on and we're worried about him. But aside from that, he is at least stable to the point where he's getting through the week without us having to stay home with him all the time.
Nice.
So just all of these things, life is moving forward, and I'm able to concentrate and focus and get things done, which is really nice because it's incredibly demoralizing and demotivating to know that you want to get all these things done and not be able to because of life.
Cool. Well, congrats. That's great. I mean, it's awesome to see you kicking ass basically. So
yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way things have been going for a while now. So it's nice to be in this spot, even when things are stressful and down and rough, which happens pretty regularly with my son. But even with all of that, I've got things moving at a pretty good pace, and I'm on track to do some pretty awesome stuff with blogging and business in the next couple of months. I'll stop talking now.
No, it sounds like things are going great. I mean, after the couple of weeks that you had that were so kind of rough and you felt down about what you weren't getting done, it's nice to hear that, hey, look, it's you have a week where you have the time and things go well. So
what's up with Chuck? I heard something about Angular Remote Conf last week.
That's right. So I did Angular Remote Conf last week. That's why I wasn't here, because I did it Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And so it overlaps with this call. But I found that seems to be the most effective time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it just means I have to miss periodically when I have one of these conferences. But it went really, really well. There was one small hiccup. My internet connection kept dropping in the middle of one of the talks, and it was the talk where I was actually moderating a Q&A.
Okay.
So, of all the talks that could have happened on it happened on the one that I actually needed to be there.
Of course.
So, but other than that, things went really well. I got a ton of positive feedback. I had several people actually ask me if I could do a remote conf every month.
Wow.
And what they said was, if you do one every month, I will buy a year's pass.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It
might be actually something to really consider.
I am seriously thinking about it.
Yeah.
If I do it, though, I basically have decided that I need to make up my mind and have everything together so people can buy those by the end of this month. And that way I can do the push and say, look, you can buy all the way up through the first conference next year. You can get the year-long pass.
Now, here's the only challenge with that. They say the guy says he'll buy a year-long pass, but in order for you to make this work, I would imagine you're going to have to do like an Angular, a Ruby, JavaScript, or whatever it is. I mean, it's going to be a lot of different topics.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't think that I don't think the year passing is going to work unless you make it like a conference every month that's all related to some track or close enough that it's worth it. So I think that the monthly thing might make sense, but I just don't know if it's going to make sense to do year. Maybe you do the thing instead of a yearly pass where it's like, okay, pick 4 months out of the year that you're interested in, or 4 of them.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
something
So
like that.
buy a pack of
That's what I...
4 passes, because you know that there's going to be 4 JavaScript conferences this year.
Yeah, that's the other way that I thought about doing it. The other thing is that there are some conferences I know I want to do. So I know I want to do one Ruby, one Rails, one JavaScript, one Angular. I don't see any reason not to do a freelancing and an iOS just because I have the shows,
Right.
and I'm pretty sure I can sell the tickets. That leaves 6 others for the year, and I'm thinking I may
double it. Just do 2 of each.
do 2 of each.
Or wait a minute, or just leave it like that. Do 6 the first year. Let's do
Yeah.
let's do them once every 2 months. make sure that it's working, and then up it to once a month once you get some feedback and stuff too. So
Yeah,
Right.
I've thought about holding it to 9, and then doing 3 on just other technologies that are going to be, they kind of cut across those descriptions. So I could do like a PostgreSQL or a Git or a Shell conference.
soft
So-
skills.
Soft skills. I could do that.
It's just
Or
gonna
just
be John reading for 5 hours.
well, John and I talked about doing a career-based one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also talking to Reuven Lerner about doing one on technical training.
Nice.
Nice.
For technical trainers. And so there are a lot of options for that. And then I can just say, look, these are the 6 I'm committed to doing every year. And then, I'm going to throw a few others in that are not those topics. And that way people know, okay, he's doing Postgres this year, but next year it might be MongoDB, or it might be asynchronous programming with queues, or it might be, some other topic that's, of general interest. But maybe it's functional reactive programming,
Mhm.
or I could focus on some other language like Elixir or something. But I don't know. I'm still playing with the idea, but yeah, I think I'm going to space out those 6 conferences across the year and just tell people when they're going to be now, and then allow people to buy.
Did you
a
get
package?
Did you get sponsorships for the Angular conference? Have you been selling?
I was open to it, but I didn't really pursue it.
Okay.
To be honest, what I'd like to do next year is I want to get it all together, and I want to get all the websites up so people can register, and basically get it all set up so that all I have to do is fill in all the blanks for the speakers, and then just answer any questions as they come in. But then the idea is that I can focus on, because I'll get all that done before the beginning of the year.
Yep.
And then as the conference is approaching, I'm a month or 2 out, I can start approaching sponsors, and I can start, nailing things down for the speakers and stuff like that. It also allows me to get the speakers a little bit early. So right now I'm working on finding speakers for Rails Remote Conf because I decided to do it, and it's in a month. And so I need to get that nailed down now. But once I have some traction there, I'm planning on filling the JS Remote Conf spots, and so that'll be 3 months in advance. And that'll make it easier to get people in because they don't already have something going on, and I can line a lot of that up, and then come end of November, early December, I can start lining people up for whatever I do in like March.
Mhm.
Yeah. To me, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, this is right up your alley, like doing these conferences, because it goes along with podcasting so well. Because, like you said, you've got the audiences for iOS, for freelancing, for Ruby, for all these. So it's natural. You can sell the tickets to the conference because directly as an outgrowth from the podcast, and then the sponsorship as well. Like it's very synergistic. Like to go down this. I think you've found your path. I think podcasting in remote conference. I think if you just going like pushing really hard down that direction makes a lot of sense, just because of how much synergy there is between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is that I've realized that I can systemize almost everything that has to do with the conference except for holding it.
Yeah.
So, looking at that as an option, basically the place I'm getting to with a lot of this is that I can basically make it run itself. And, because Mandy can send out and reach out to most of the folks. She does all the scheduling for the speakers anyway. And, I can go to the people that I have relationships with to find the sponsors, so I might have to do a little bit of legwork there. But most of the rest of the marketing is either automatable because I'm tweeting stuff out on Twitter and putting stuff up on Facebook, and I can do all that through Edgar, or I'm reaching out to users groups on meetup.com and things like that, which turned out to be totally the way to go for this. But I have my Filipino VA going out and sending those messages, and there's some fine tuning there because some people got the message like 4 times because they ran 4 JavaScript groups, and so that's less than ideal. And I don't want to tick people off, I want to give them the opportunity to share the discount code and things like that. But yeah, so I can automate most of that, and his English is actually good enough to where I'm comfortable with him answering most of the questions that are going to come back from that. So I'm just going to look over the questions I got from Angular Remote Conf and then give him the answers to those questions and say, you know, here are the answers to these questions, and here's the kind of leeway you have. So, for example, some of the users group said, can we get 2 tickets to give away? And my answer was, sure. So, you know, it's like, so I'll just explain to him, this is, you know, you know, if they ask for it, they can have 2 tickets to give away, and, you know, and they have to email back, or they have to contact you or me back with the email addresses, so we can add them to the system.
Nice.
So yeah, but I feel like at that point, because it's kind of becoming a support function, and it doesn't necessarily need my direct involvement. So anyway, that's kind of the story there. So between Mandy and Gerald, they can handle most of the support requests. So then it's just a matter of making it all go and making sure that it gets advertised in the shows.
Right.
So then I can focus on some of the other things that I want to do. And I kind of had this crazy idea, but I'm super excited about it. And so I think I'm going to hang out my shingle again as a consultant. And the reason is, and I've talked about this some on the Freelancer show, but that won't come out for another couple weeks. But basically, when we were talking about the Apple event that happened this last month on the iFreak show, it occurred to me that the future of TV really is those smart systems and set-top boxes and stuff, where instead of having Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 5, whatever, it's going to be whatever app you have on your Apple TV and stuff. And so what I would like to do is I would like to help media companies, like DevChat.tv, for example, but other like TV networks and other podcast networks, and you know, maybe Twitch.tv channels and things like that, create their own app or their own channel on these systems, so that people can just participate in them on their other devices. And I think there are a lot of companies out there that would pay, you know, a pretty penny to be on all those systems without having to do all the work. And I think it's a really interesting technical problem to solve. So I'm getting pretty excited about it, and I'm starting to figure out what it'll take to write apps for all these systems.
Cool. That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea. I think you're right. I mean, that's definitely the future. Like it's going to go that direction.
Yeah.
And I like, what I really like about this idea is that you have a very defined thing you're doing, and a very defined market, a very defined client, and what you're doing for them. So,
Right.
So you'll be able to very easily attack and be a specialist in this area, and to be able to find exactly who to contact and to be the guy. I mean, you can be the guy who takes your media company and brings it to the devices. That's to the TV Chuck.
Yeah. The thing I realized, though, because I picked up a couple of clients, and I realized pretty fast, I'm like, I really don't want to work on these projects. And the reason I figured out is mainly that they come to me and they've made decisions that they're not really qualified to make on all the wrong things, and they don't really know what they want in the first place anyway. And so I get tired of going through these gyrations, and I eventually start trying to avoid them. And so if I'm working with companies where it's like, look, I understand how media gets to these boxes, and I understand how people can interact on these boxes, then the conversation isn't, oh, I need an app that does X, Y, Z, and you know, ABC, and you know, QRS, and they don't really understand what the implications of any of that is. Instead, they're coming to me and they're saying, we want to be on Roku. Or, you know, we want to be on Roku and Chromecast and Fire TV and all the other ones, Apple TV, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and we want it to work nicely with our iPhone app. Then I can talk to them, and I'm going to be the expert, and I'm going to be saying, okay, well, then we can do these things. and we can just line it up, and then we can solve it. And then if they need something custom, then they're coming to me, and they're not talking to me as the code monkey that's going to build out whatever they want. They're talking to me as the expert that's telling them whether or not it'll actually work out for them and make valid suggestions as an expert to help them get the most out of their TV experience for their audience.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck, have you read $1 Million Consulting yet?
Nope.
Read it. I mean, if you're gonna go seriously, if you're gonna go this route, that book is pretty much all about what you're describing. Like, I've been thinking about this lately. Dan Kennedy calls it being the doctor, not the pharmacist.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than, you're the one doing the diagnosis and the prescription, not the one filling the prescription.
Right.
And that's kind of that's the direction I'm heading as well, trying to.
Yeah, so it's more consultant,
Yep.
not contractor.
Well, you can still be the one that actually does the work,
Right, but you're going to get...
You define it.
Right, and I had a lot more value when I was a consultant to companies, 3 years ago, when I would go in there and I would write code, but I would write code with the explicit purpose of teaching the rest of their team how to write the same code, so that I could, code myself out of a job, train myself out of a job with that company, and I made, $250 an hour a few times doing that. But versus now, as a contractor for the big healthcare organization, I don't really want to be a consultant there. I just want to be heads down, writing code kind of thing, so that I can focus my real attention on everything else. And I'm not making nearly as much money at that client as I was when I was a real consultant.
Yeah, I think the issue really comes down to whether they're interested in output or results, and the difference is that they come in and they think they just need the output. In other words, I just need an app. I need a pile of code that does something.
Yeah.
And if they're coming to you asking for output, then they need anybody who can turn a crank.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And the issue is I get really tired because I get tired of hearing you're not turning the crank right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, I'm the expert here. I'm turning the crank right. You just don't understand how the machinery works.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, I'd like to be able to come in and say, you need these machines with these cranks, and I will put the right motors on those cranks so that they turn the right way and the right speed.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they're not telling me we need a crank turned. What they're telling me is we want sausage. And we don't care how we get sausage, but we want sausage. We want results. We're hungry.
You hear me? Damn it! I'm Joe. I work in the button factory. I'll push the buttons.
So yeah, so that's kind of my thinking.
It's pretty awesome.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's been funny. It's really kind of depends which response you get depends on how you're doing your lead generation for that.
Yeah,
that's so true.
Because it's pretty funny. Like, I get people now. Like, I had one guy this week email me, came to me through Twitter. He saw my Twitter profile, and then sent me a message through my contact form. And he was like, it was really funny. The email was like, here, let me see if I can find it to read it. The subject line was, I might want to hire you. Message. I read the Twitter description. I'm interested. Book a time to pitch me your service/consulting. Calendly link. All right. So Calendly link. So then I reply and I say, hey Donnie, great to hear from you. Due to the volume of requests I get, I've had to modify my intake process. And then I sent him I basically said it costs you $500 to do a diagnostic with me. We'll walk through that. And then I will decide, we'll decide whether we want to work together and what you actually need. And then he replied back, and he's like, I still need you to, no, I'm not sold on the value. I need you to pitch me. And then he sends me the link again. So I was like, I just said, makes sense. Not everybody's ready to get down to work. I have 9 prospects trying to get on my calendar, and my process is how everyone gets a fair shot. Good luck with your search. I was super tempted to send him to Warrior Forum, which is like the internet pond scum, like where all the pond scum copywriters go to hang out. And I was really tempted to send him a link and say, I'm sure you can find a copywriter here who's not busy, who can take your job, but I restrained myself.
Who can sell your ClickBank product?
Yeah.
Lose weight and increase your sex drive.
Simultaneously. Yeah, so like versus like people that have come to me, like I actually had somebody today, or somebody this week, contact me through the podcast. Actually, he's a listener. His name's Adam. Hi, Adam.
Hi, Adam.
Hi,
yeah,
Adam.
and he's got a company. He's working at a company now, and they're interested in talking to me. And
Nice.
they're kind of they're working with me on the process here. So, not sure if we'll end up working together or not. But it's been a much more pleasant experience. Then I had another guy who I guess found my site and like browsed around and really liked it and contacted me, and I said, well, it'll be $250. I just raised the price on this diagnostic from $250 to $500 because I had too many people saying yes. But yeah, he was like, I said, yeah, it'll be $250. He's like, that sounds like a steal. Let's do it. So it just makes a huge difference where people are as far as what they know, what you do.
Yeah.
Makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I totally like that approach too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're getting some money for your time, first of all, and then second of all, you're putting some skin in the game for them. Mm-hmm. You're more likely to chase their money. Like they're more likely to say yes later down because they've already invested $250. Plus, you can say the $250 or $500 applies toward the first, which makes it
exactly what I'm doing. Yeah, it applies. So they get the $250 for $500. They get several hours of my time going through their entire funnel, tearing it apart, figuring out, okay, like, because a lot of people are just like, well, I need emails, and I'm like, well, no, you don't. You don't have any traffic, so don't waste your money on me yet,
Well, that's exactly what we're talking about here, right?
Yeah.
Is I need emails versus I need to make sales through my sales funnel.
Right.
One's results and one's output.
Yep. Yeah. So, so I'm liking this. This was I tried this a couple times before. It's definitely harder a harder sale to make because it's a little bit less clear what the output is, and so I'm struggling a little bit with that and being able to communicate to people what the value is going to be. But yeah, it's definitely for me. Like if I can get 2 or 3 of these a month, that'll help me with my income. It gives me a little bit of income, and then even if only one of them turns into an actual contract, that'll be plenty. So.
Yep.
Otherwise, I'm just doing free consultations all the time, and I don't have time. I mean, it takes several hours to be able to give somebody anything useful. So Lori, my coach, has basically kicked my butt about this, and so this is how I'm doing it.
And it's not useful if you haven't paid for it either. Like,
yeah, exactly.
We tend to attribute whether something was useful to us based on how much we paid for it more. So then there's a psychological factor there, where it becomes the higher value. If you get something for free, you assume that it must be of low value. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, like just a few weeks ago, I spent a good hour on the phone, probably like half an hour to an hour prepping before the call with a guy, and I basically I gave him a lot of really, really good stuff. He didn't pay me anything for it, so I'll probably never hear from him again. He probably won't do anything with the info. But I was actually surprised by how much good stuff came out of that call when we got talking. So no more free consulting.
That's one thing that drives me crazy. Is it's like, well, we need to talk through this, so that I can understand what I'm bidding on. And yeah, it's like 4 hours later, and I give them basically a product that tells them how to build their software.
Cool. Well, I guess I'll go next here since I kind of.
I thought you were going.
Yeah, I know. So I got a new iPhone this week, which is
nice.
Very exciting. Yeah, I got the 6S, and I really wanted the I had played with the Force Touch, or the 3D Touch rather. Excuse me. And I'm actually really excited about that. So we haven't had a good Apple conversation here for a while. So
I don't even know what that is.
we'll just be oh, the 3D touch.
Yeah.
It's pressure sensitivity on the screen. So you
Oh,
can
really?
yeah you can like hard press the screen, and it'll pop up. Now like with the main way it's being used at the moment is that if you hard press on the screen, it'll pop up a little shortcut menu on the home screen. So like
Nice.
you can have like the podcast app, push on it,
Mhm.
and it'll pop up a menu, and then you can just tap the most recent podcast you were listening to instead of
Nice.
having to go into the thing and browse to it and everything.
Right.
It's right click.
It
Yeah,
is
exactly. It's right
well,
click.
yeah, it is pretty much
Sort
right.
of.
It's
Yeah.
Hulk smash right click. Ugh.
But my understanding is that it can also be used for like preview options. So let's say
Yeah.
you did have a podcast player and you 3D pressed it. Instead of showing you a menu, it could conceivably show you a player with what's being played, or
Yeah.
if you were halfway through a show on Amazon Prime Video, then it could show you a frame of the screen or something.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see. Like the apps are starting to slowly implement it, so I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody does with it. So yeah, that was pretty exciting. I did decide to just buy it outright, like John
Good.
suggested.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the thing that tipped me over the edge versus doing the financing option was that I would have had to get a credit card, which I don't have at the moment. I'm probably going to get one at some point, but I think it also had to be a personal credit card. So even if I got one for my business, which I would want this charged to my business credit card,
Yeah.
I couldn't use that. I'd have to use the personal one.
Oh, for the layaway
Yeah.
plan, for the payment plan.
Yeah. So that didn't really make a lot of sense to me.
Mhm.
So yeah, I just went ahead and bought it, and from here on out, like I'll probably just upgrade every year, because if you wait 2 years, the value really goes down. If you do it every year, you don't lose as much money, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I do every 2 years for my Androids, but I mean, an Android phone has no resale value.
Yeah. Like the iPhone from last year is still worth around $500 or $600.
Yeah.
So
I'm about due for a new Android phone. This one's physically starting to get worn out, not just software and processor wise.
but yeah, I'm actually. So I was wrong about. So I thought that when I'd handled them in the store before, I'd never handled one without the huge like hump on the back for the anti-theft device.
Right.
So I thought that it would be slippery, and it's actually not at all. Like the aluminum has a nice little tack to it, and it hasn't been. I haven't even come close to dropping it, and the smooth edges actually are really nice. I was kind of getting tired of the sharp edges on my old phone, on my iPhone 5.
Right.
So I like it. Yeah, I'm happy.
I think it's funny. We were just having the conversation about how if you spend money, right?
Oh yeah.
and you just bought your iPhone out, right? How much you spend?
Yeah.
It's like $700. So it's, I mean, obviously you like it, but it also does taint your view. Like you have to be somewhat biased by it because you just spent $700 on it. So it's,
Mhm.
I mean, we just saw it in practice, like.
I think that may fall under the psychology principle of cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, I have to like this because I just
Exactly.
I just said I did with my wallet. So
It's funny. There's actually, gosh, I keep on hearing. It's funny. All the books that I read, like they just use the same psychological experiment over and over again. So
Yeah.
I don't know which book it was, but I remember recently reading this in multiple books where they talked about POWs in
that was
China,
in
communist
that was
China?
in no that I think you're thinking North Korea. Is that the one from Influence maybe?
That might be, yeah. Where they? Well, I know it was mentioned there for sure.
Had to write the essay about communism. Yeah, that was North Korea.
Yeah. It's also in. I was reading. Maybe the. I can't think of what the book is. Oh, Charisma Myth. But they're talking about how you want to be congruent with what your previous actions were, right? So all they had to do to like crack these guys was just simply get them to make a little bit of a step in one direction, just to say some bad things about the U.S. and some positive things about communism that they believed, and then to put it into writing, and then basically, little by little, they took them over to the point, because no one likes to be inconsistent with their own beliefs or with their past actions. So.
Yep. So I discovered that so all of the iPhones, if you go to the Apple Store and actually buy it there, they're all unlocked. So I bought the AT&T one because they haven't released the unlocked iPhone yet. And they don't release it for several months for some silly reason. Did something happen recently why did all the carriers just suddenly stop subsidizing phones? Like, was there something I missed? Like some law or some change that happened?
It's not profitable.
Well, I know. It makes sense, and I'm glad they've finally come around to this. But
that's really all it was. Is Apple stopped doing it because it wasn't profitable. And everybody else followed.
All right.
Well, they're getting killed by all these little companies that were doing no contract plans, and then Sprint took a bite, and T-Mobile did. Like, they're taking a bite out of the Apple and the AT&T and the Verizons by doing this, because everyone's like, well, what the heck? Why? I don't want to be locked in for 2 years and not be able to upgrade my phone. These other plans. So that's what happened for me. That's when I was like, because I was always then I was like, well, wait a minute. I can just do Cricket or one of these smaller companies, and just buy my phone right out, and then I won't be paying this ridiculous fee for forever. So the pressure caused them to do it. But
I mean, I'd seen it. I'd been hoping it was going to go this way. It just seemed like it was very abrupt all of a sudden. Yeah. And maybe it was just, Derek, I think it might be what you said with Apple. I mean, Apple really that's what it takes for anything to happen. Yeah. Is Apple to basically just say, okay, we're not doing that anymore.
Right.
We're still paying too much in the U.S. here. I mean,
for the phones or for the plans?
For the service. When I traveled Europe, I don't know if I mentioned, but every country I went to, I just bought a SIM card instead of using my free T-Mobile stuff. But and the SIM card, I'd buy a SIM card with unlimited data for €20. Was basically $20, right? For a month, unlimited data, and you just pay as you go.
I'm paying $35 a month, and I have 2.5 gigs of full speed data, and then it drops down. So that's not that far off of what you're saying.
You're paying $35 a month?
$35 a month.
Through what?
Cricket.
Oh, Cricket. Yeah. Okay. That's okay. Yeah. So that's in fact. Yeah. See, that was one of the plans that was biting into the big guys because they were doing that. So,
I'm grandfathered into a Verizon plan. I'm paying $30 a month for unlimited data, and I have a 4G phone.
Every month there's a meeting at Verizon headquarters.
Yep.
They're like,
what are we
there's
gonna
5
do about
people.
The Derek Bailey guy?
There's 5 people, and they put their faces up on a board. And they just throw darts, and they're like, how do we get these guys off? And
I'm one of them.
But Derek,
number one.
You're not paying $30 a month total. Your total is more than that because you're paying a line.
I'm paying $30 a month for the unlimited data plan.
Right, but you still have a line fee of
line fees and 2 phones, and my wife's on a data plan, and our total bill is $158 a month. It sucks, but at the same time, I'm not changing it because, damn it, I'm grandfathered into unlimited data on 4G.
Well, I've got T-Mobile upgraded their network. Well, also with the new iPhones, they have the new LTE capability, which is really good for T-Mobile. But the T-Mobile plan I'm on is $50 a month per phone, so I pay $100 a month with taxes and everything. It's $113 a month, unlimited data on both of the iPhones, and 5 gigabytes tethering per month, and then unlimited international data at a snail's pace.
Right. 1x.
Yeah. So
they literally have snails carrying 1s and 0s back and forth.
Every snail is a 1, and if there's a space, that's a 0.
But it's getting better, but there's still data's going to get extremely
Yeah.
cheap. Google just launched I forgot what their program is called. Have you guys heard about that? Google's selling cell phone service now.
I didn't know
Are
that.
they?
It's a pretty reasonable price. Like
So
it's
now
an
they can
a la carte.
actually tap into your phone calls.
Yeah.
Well, now they can make Android profitable. Yes.
Well, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
But
Yeah. So anyway, I'm pretty happy with it. I like 64 gigs, which is a huge improvement from my 16 gig phone. I mainly use it. I don't listen to a lot of music, but I listen to a ton of lectures, and I make those into audiobooks so that I can resume. And I could only put like 4 or 5 of them on my old phone, and I was always like hitting my phone would like go all herky jerky, and it'd be like, you have 0 megabytes left. I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? So now I have like all my audiobooks on here, and I have still like 50 gigs free. So I'm happy, very happy with that. Yeah, and actually, what paid for that was I'm working with John now.
yeah,
So,
did you get a new client?
Yeah. So we're doing we're going to do a launch. We're doing a launch for his 10 steps to learn anything quickly course.
Nice.
So yeah, this all happened the week before John decided to like throw up his hands and walk away and never look back. Yeah, so we're doing a sales page for that. We're doing emails. So I think we're gonna do an email course, and it's looking like it'll be something like 7 mistakes that developers make when they're learning a new technology or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of sets you up. It'll be like, here's how you're doing it wrong. Here's how to do it right. Oh, you have to pay for that. Yeah, so that's been fun. I went through the whole course this week. Interviewed John for a while, and I'm going to be talking to another guy who actually it's actually hilarious to buy that course on John's site right now. You really have to want it. You have to want it so bad. It was like buried. It was buried three levels deep, and then like the shopping, the checkout process is broken. So this guy,
You've got to be a developer that can go into the console and fix this.
Yeah, you almost have to hack the server to get access to his course. So there's a guy who recently bought it that I'm going to be interviewing this afternoon.
Oh, he hasn't bought it. He was interested in demoing it or something. So I was like, okay, because he's not sold 100%. So I figured that'd be a real good one for you.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
that's absolutely perfect.
So.
Yeah, so that's been fun. Been diving back into the world, the crazy world of developers. I spent most of the morning going through Hacker News and looking for people complaining about feeling overwhelmed by technology. And I got some. Oh my gosh, I got some great quotes. Let me see if I can find 1 or 2 of them. Yeah, there was some real gold in there. Some of this stuff I'm gonna have to find a way to use either in headlines or use it directly.
You got to be careful with Hacker News Gold though, because most of the time it's urine.
Oh man, well I actually highlighted this in bright yellow, so you can draw your own conclusion. But yeah, one of the quotes I loved was, to stay on top, all you got to do is have 3 years of experience in everything that came out in the last year.
Yep.
Nice.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah. Yep.
Done.
Yeah. So there's some good stuff. Hacker News and Reddit, but I love Hacker News and Reddit as a copywriter because people are so angry and bitter and emotional, and they just go there and rip into each other, and so it's real. It's like I get the real stuff. The stuff I need. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm actually getting a pretty good stream. Oh no, that's not it. So the biggest thing that happened this week was last week I sent out my mailing, right, to the Infusionsoft consultants, and so this week I was interviewing John. We were talking about the project, and I get an email. This was like Tuesday morning. I get an email from a lady named Cheryl, who's an Infusionsoft consultant here in Pittsburgh that I've been talking to, and she's been real friendly with me, and seems like she would like to work with me at some point. And so she's like, Josh, there are people are complaining in our private Facebook group that they got an email from you that like several people are complaining they got emails from you pitching your copywriting services. I hope this wasn't you because if you remember, I warned you about this. Like she'd actually talked to me a few weeks back and said, don't go through the Infusionsoft directory and email everybody because we hate that. Like it just people get really mad. So I didn't. I went through the Infusionsoft directory and sent snail mail. And my intent with that was to be like more courteous because you can snail mail anybody anything unsolicited and there's like no real ethical problems with that. Like email is definitely like unsolicited email is definitely more of a gray area. So there were a bunch of people that were like complaining. There were several people that were complaining in their private Facebook group about getting this email or this letter from me. And so this really knocked me off my game on Tuesday. I just got a little sucked into the drama, but it was pretty funny because like basically they were all worked up because I'd gone through. They didn't like that I'd gotten their name from this directory. Basically, was what it came down to. But they were like kind of like giving me props for the copy, and like they were like, yeah, it's good copy, and the handwriting, the envelopes was genius, and we're all talking about this now, but I'm so mad.
Perfect.
It was pretty funny. It was funny to watch them like analyze their own reactions, and then so I it ended up being I thought I was going to get some blowback and have people email me or call me and yell at me, but I didn't hear from any of the people that were upset so far. But yeah, I was telling my wife about it, and we were like, yeah, so the headline here is marketers upset by marketing. We're like, these are like, it's not like they're it's not like they're like programmers or something.
Right.
Although I've learned that in Infusionsoft, a lot of the people that get into Infusionsoft consulting actually are programmers.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe some of the sensitivity is similar to what what you see with developers. But yeah, it's like good grief. These people, like their whole job is helping people set up direct mail, and I mean like Infusionsoft, their USP is we do direct mail too. Like they don't just do email, they do direct mail. And so yeah, the irony was just, oh my goodness, it was killing. The mailing I didn't get. So aside from that, I did get 2 responses from it from people that were pretty interested. So we'll see if those go anywhere. But yeah, I mean I was hoping for a little bit more, but I think in hindsight now, I think that so the idea was I was going to reach out to Infusionsoft consultants, and they would hire me to help them with their client work. And it seemed, just from the discussion that that went on in the Facebook group, it seems like that's not really, like a lot of them don't really care about that, which is not at all. I've gotten very different signals from the people that I've actually talked to who are saying, yes, we need this help. But it seemed like the people that I mailed were not particularly interested in that. So, but I did get 2 inquiries, so that's good. And if I do find myself in a position in the future where I need work, I'm just going to go out and get a list of marketing directors and do a little bit more of a broad-based version of the same thing. And I can it'll be a nice little backup plan. I can just crank it and, crank the widget and get leads for myself. So, and the people that I did hear from were pretty interested. So it works.
Cool. I think it's good. I don't think just getting your name in front of those people is going to be good. So
yeah. And Dan Kennedy has a good saying where he's like, if you haven't pissed somebody off by noon, you're not doing your job. So, and this happened at like 11 o'clock, so I guess I got a gold star for that day.
Yes.
You were getting in a little late there.
Yeah, just squeaking under the wire. But yeah, it was kind of funny. Somebody sent me screenshots of the discussion that was as it was happening. So I was getting I was hearing from Cheryl, and Cheryl and I were going back and forth, and this other guy was giving me screenshots of the discussion, so I kind of got to see both sides of it, and
Nice.
they were like, yeah, he's being pretty aggressive here. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Breaking
Yeah,
news. Marketers offended by the marketing tactics that they use.
Yes.
Yeah, when you're hiring a marketer, you're always like, gosh, I just wish he wasn't so aggressive.
Yeah.
That's always the thing, right? Yeah, I wish he was a little more docile.
Nice, passive approach where everything is friendly and non-committal because I don't want to pressure people. Oh, and by the way, I don't need sales, so.
A question for you, Josh.
Yeah, go for it.
So I am kind of toying with the idea of sending out a newsletter similar to yours that's just kind of, I don't know if I'll send it as often as I get them from you, though I really like yours. But anyway, it's just going to be, hey, this is a message of something that I've kind of been thinking about, but I'd kind of like to post it on my blog and on LinkedIn as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any reason why I wouldn't post it in all three places?
I'm actually posting all mine on my blog, and I have been posting a lot of them on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, and so honestly, the LinkedIn is a little different. With if you're going to do that, you need to at least spend some time writing a different headline, because like a subject line that will get attention is not really necessarily going to work well in LinkedIn or as a blog post title, if that makes sense. So like today, I think mine was like today. My subject line was something like "Watch your tone with me." It was like something. It was sounded a little confrontational on purpose to just kind of get people's attention. And another one that got really really good open rates was my "Why are you spamming me?"
Yeah,
and
I got sucked into that one.
Yep. Yeah, I had one guy email me back, and he was like, this gave me a heart attack. So those are good subject lines, but they're terrible blog post titles. I've noticed that on LinkedIn, like when I use a more, either like a more benefit-oriented or like a, some kind of like pop culture reference. Like I had one was a few weeks back that was something about like a marketing secret from Optimus Prime or something like that, and that did really, really well on LinkedIn. But like a how-to headline or something like that would be better on LinkedIn. It gives more of a clue about what the content is. But yeah, I personally, for me, it's more of just like an effort. Like I don't have the time to blog right now if I'm going to be doing the email thing, and I think the email thing is more valuable for me to do. Mm-hmm. And so I just write the email and then I publish it on the blog. Most of the time I'm also putting it on LinkedIn. And then from the blog it goes out to Twitter and Facebook as well. And I just kind of get all those, it's really more of a frequency, frequency of contact strategy. And it's not going to get me, it'll be interesting to see what happens with as far as traffic, because those are not blog posts that are going to get much SEO traffic, I don't think. So I'm not really counting on that. I'm probably going to be doing some Facebook ads soon to build my list. Right now I'm pretty much hovering right around like a break even. I'm getting about 200 new signups per month and losing about the same from doing the daily emails. So, but yeah, like I'm definitely kind of going for I think at this point I'd rather have a smaller, more dedicated group of people than have a bigger list and have something more complicated that I have to maintain and stuff.
It's one thing I have never seen, but I've been thinking about lately, is the lifetime or lifespan of a fan. So I've been thinking about this with Simple Programmer because I noticed some people, they'll read my stuff, comment a lot on my blog posts, respond to my emails and stuff, and be on Facebook and sharing things on Twitter, and then they'll kind of drop off. But then new people will come on, but no one really. I mean, there's a few people that have stuck through for a long time, but it seems to go in waves. So it's almost like you kind of got to plan for it. Like, I haven't really seen I haven't seen anything that really talks about this, but it's an interesting concept because if you can kind of figure out how these cycles work, then you can kind of optimize for it and realize that, like for example, your strategy of sending a daily email, right? That is going to, probably someone's not going to be reading your daily emails for 2 years. That's just not going to happen.
Well, there will be. I mean, I've been on Ben Settle's list for a couple of years. Most of the people on his list, honestly, he has a lot of people that sticks around.
Well, but it's not going to be as many, right? It's going to be most likely, like, I guess I'd say, like, okay, just contrast two things, like, conceptually here. Sending an email once a week and sending daily emails. So sending an email once a week, you take the same person, that person, the once a week person, they might hang around for a long time, and then at some point become a peak fan as they like start consuming your content, and then they kind of go down. Whereas that same person, if they came into a daily sequence, they might immediately go shoot up, but also shoot down quicker. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's some kind of lifespan, because people get emotionally exhausted, or their interests change. I think that's what it is, actually. I think it is the interests that change that a lot of times is what causes people to disappear on you. And either they figure out how to solve the problem that you're helping them solve, and they just kind of move on to other problems, or they just change paths in life entirely.
Yeah, interestingly, tangentially to that, 6 months ago, a year ago, most of the unsubscribes that I got for Watch Me Code was, I'm cutting back on my expenses. Now, the majority of the reasons that I get are I'm no longer doing software, I'm now management.
Yeah.
Or I'm no longer doing JavaScript, or I'm no longer doing whatever it is that I was solving for them previously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the advantage of communicating more often when people are like in the period where they're really interested in it, if you can kind of maximize the communication that they'll tolerate, that's good. That's good. Yeah, but I mean, you can definitely, it's definitely possible to like have somebody who's been on your list for a while and then suddenly they reactivate, 2 years from now, suddenly, oh wait, no, oh gosh, everybody's getting laid off at my job, maybe I should start thinking about this career stuff again.
Well, I've seen that with Watch Me Code again. I've just in the last couple of weeks, I've had a number of people resubscribe once I put the series page up and once I started talking about it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but John, you're right. There is like kind of an average.
Yeah.
There's definitely kind of an average. Yeah,
because I notice people coming in and out of my audience. Again, that's why I'm getting more keen on the idea of having like a year or 2 years worth of content and having it all automated rather than me sending weekly emails, because that's it. I mean, it's not like some people, like you said, Josh, would stick around for forever and just but a majority is going to like have a lifespan of 1 or 2 years, and they're just not going to be reading all your blog posts and your stuff after that. Like, you got to, and that's where I think you're right. Your strategy to hit them hard and heavy at first, it makes a lot of sense because you want to maximize that. But I think it's almost like you don't want to like be spending so much time cultivating crops that it's like perennials versus annuals, right? It's like the annuals, they bloom and then they die. Like you can't invest too highly in that unless I have it backwards, but.
No, you got it right.
Eric Davis, who up until recently was on the Freelancer Show, he has a 2 or 3 year weekly drip sequence. And it's all evergreen content that he just puts out there, and so it's not really a newsletter. There aren't really any like current events or anything like that in it. But each week is an email about something related to freelancing, and so you could do something like that.
Yeah, it's a nurture sequence, a basic nurture sequence.
Yeah. And then he periodically throws something out there. Hey, I've got this book, or hey, I've got this other thing.
Yeah, for me, it's honestly, the reason I'm doing it the way I'm doing it is honestly as much about practice for me. Like, it's almost more about me, like, and just how I want to run things versus like what I think is necessarily going to maximize, the value, lifetime value. But yeah, I'm in a little different position too because I'm trying to get I'm looking for the one person out there that
Yeah.
can pay me $10,000. Not I don't have at this point I don't have a product yet. So when I have a product, I might take a different approach.
Yeah, no, I think your approach makes sense. It makes a whole lot of sense. You don't need to grow. You just need to stay above water. Just keep on pulling 200, even if 200 unsubscribe, because, like you said, you pitch those 200 people hard. One of them is going to be the one, and that's it. That's all you need each month.
Exactly. So. Yep. I'd like to get in a position. My goal here is to get to where I'm doing maybe 2 to 4 of these diagnostic calls a month, and charging anywhere from $500 to $750 for those, and then one of those turns into a full copywriting project.
Pipeline.
Yep. And I think as I'm going to need pretty soon, I'm going to need to look into hiring a VA, just because partly actually just for positioning, because if you've got it's like a little bit of a talk to the hand kind of thing, like somebody inquires and then they get a message back from my VA. Oh, Josh would be interested in talking to you. Here's the process. Suddenly it's not like me being stubborn and obstinate. It's like, there's this whole process, and you don't walk into the waiting room and the doctor's sitting right there.
Right, it's the agency. It's the power of agency again. Yeah, It's very useful, because if it's more offensive for you to say, "Hey, it'll be $500 if you want to talk to me, buddy," versus someone else who says, "Oh, well, this is the process and this is how Josh does things." And now it seems a lot more legitimate, rather than than them saying, "I wonder if he's going to go buy a new iPhone with that $500."
Exactly.
But it also comes across as. So, yeah, I know some people get offended when they try and reach out to the guy and they get the assistant instead. But, it does give the impression, and it's probably a correct impression for most people that do it, that, they're just super busy, and they can't serve everybody properly unless they have some screening process or have somebody in the middle who can answer the basic questions.
Yeah, and for right now, my goal is actually not to be. I don't want to be inaccessible at this point. So but as soon as it's like, okay, I'm interested in working with you, then boom, into the system it goes. So that's pretty much it for me.
I have to say it's incredibly interesting, if not beneficial.
So I sent out my blog post will go live on Monday. This will be Tuesday when this is released. Yeah. But I wrote up this blog post that basically I'm going to step away from Simple Programmer for a while. I guess, and what does that really mean? It means that it's going to run on autopilot, but it's kind of been running on autopilot for the past 3 months. The difference is I've been writing a blog post every week, and I've been thinking about it a lot, and still, I don't know, it hasn't been, I haven't been doing other things. Well, when you're traveling, you're not.
Right.
So I need to do some other things, get my mind off of this, just figure out what I want to do, because it's not fun anymore, because I'm not enjoying writing blog posts. I feel like I don't have anything else new to say. I don't know. I feel like I've trapped myself into this job that I've created for myself, and I don't like it. And so I need to either go and do other things and figure out. It sounds like, gosh, it's breaking up with my girlfriend now, but
it's not
I need to go and try other things and see if I like that more, if there's something else I want to be doing, or if I come back with a renewed sense of energy. And I don't think I'm ever going to be dropping Simple Programmer, but I have been trying to make it more automated. I have been trying to get myself out of it, to free myself up. But now I just need to do a real. I thought when I came back from Europe that I was going to get all gung ho and do all this kind of stuff, but I don't have the enthusiasm to do it. So I need to do some stuff, and then we'll see. Maybe I'll come back, and then I'll have super enthusiasm and go and tackle stuff. I'm not being able to be productive, and I'm not able to like feel motivated to do this. And for me at this point, like the money can't be the motivation because it really doesn't matter like that much. Like I already could have my my income taken care of, so it doesn't make much sense. So which is my motivation for doing everything a long time back was to be able to buy my freedom, which I have done, but I'm not utilizing it, so it's kind of silly. So.
Yeah, John, you sent that you emailed us that post. Mm-hmm. I was like a little bit down that day anyway. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's like I said, I think I said in the post that I feel like I broke myself.
Yeah.
Because I used to have friends, I used to have interests. I used to be interested in playing video games or playing Magic or something, doing stuff. And now I'm like, well, now even when I have free time, I'm like, well, what do I feel like doing? Nothing. and I'm like, well, that sucks. Like you got to have some kind of life, some kind of interest. And what I think I made myself into a machine. Like when I think back in time, and I'm like, man, how the hell did I even do like a full-time job and crank out Pluralsight videos like 5 hours a night and all weekend like for a couple years, and then go into Simple Programmer and be writing 3,000-word blog posts every single week, and doing all this stuff and producing, just continuously. Like how did I turn myself into a machine, to be able to do that, go for my runs, go hit my workouts, eat one meal a day, do all this stuff, and I got to turn it off and get back to I'm not in startup mode anymore, and that's it's unsustainable to do that. So. Mm-hmm. So as much as I hate to say like find your passion and stuff, I have to find my passion again. I think in order to be to be able to go forward and do stuff. And I kind of want to explore some other things too. I've always wanted to do video game programming. I think I may do that. I'm going to take up acting again. I really enjoyed acting. Like I'm trying to think of the things that I really like doing, and acting was one of them. And of course video games. I'd like to get involved in the video game indie game community, I think, and start doing that kind of stuff. So. But and we're having conversations, I think, about possibly, like I was talking to Josh about taking over Simple Programmer and splitting the profits, and we ended up Josh taking on the 10 steps to learn anything quickly, which I think is good because it'll be it keeps things going. He's got the enthusiasm to do this stuff, to do it right. And that could pave the way for future things. So I'm still going forward. Like I think, for the most part, most people won't even know that I'm gone from Simple Programmer because I have 3 blog posts coming out per week from guest posts anyway. There's really no need for me to the hardest thing I think is going to be email. Is going to be just like. Because email is still going to come in, but I've told Andrew to like step it up and just if people ask questions and stuff, like to save them for YouTube video responses, but I won't necessarily answer them for a while.
Yeah. The irony of me working on the 10 steps course, John, is I don't know if you remember, but when you first created that, John sent me all this stuff, and I was like. He's like, this is my lead magnet for people to opt into my email list. And I was like, you need to sell this for $97. This is like way too much for a lead magnet. You're crazy. And so now we're writing a sales page to sell it for $97. So.
Nice. Yeah, and I think
2.5 years later.
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting. Like our arrangement for it was is I'm paying Josh $5,000 for that work, and then 10% of what we make from the sale for my list. So it'll be interesting to see. Like for me, like when I thought about it, I was like, it's a no-brainer for me because hell, my list has 16,000 people on it. we're gonna sell more than $5,000 worth on the launch easily, and I'm not gonna do it on my own. So at the very least, Josh's work is paid for, and it's going to give me something that I can now sell, because I can't sell it in the state that I have 1 or 2 sales per day. I mean, not per day, per month, when people like stumble into the and they figure out how to buy the thing, and then I have to manually change their password for them, because that doesn't work. So I think this. So to me, that it makes a whole lot of sense to operate this way. Just because the outcome, even if we make 5,000 in sales and it all ends up going to Josh, I have a sales page for the course. I've got an email course. I've got a launch sequence, and I've got something I can make money off in the future. Whereas before, where I'm sitting right now, I'm not gonna be motivated to do all that stuff. So yeah, so I'm pretty happy with it, and hopefully we can do a lot better than $5,000, and your 10% equity will be worth it, Josh. So
I hope so too.
but yeah, this will be a good experiment too. I want to keep Josh on retainer now. I'm like, if this works out, I've got so many projects. I want to get an email sequence, and I want to get how to market yourself fixed up and stuff. But yeah, I think that I don't know. We'll see. I still may get into the point where I do want to have someone run Simple Programmer, and I don't want to be. I want to do something totally different. But I don't think that'll be the case. I think that if I get away from it, if I take some time, if I explore, do some other things, and I don't have the pressure on me of having to get this stuff done and feeling like I need to, then I'll naturally feel like I want to do this stuff again and have new ideas, because I've got a ton of ideas for Simple Programmer. It's just I don't have the motivation to go in and do that stuff. So I did get one thing cool done this week on Simple Programmer, that I fixed so many of the stupid pages that were driving me nuts. So if you go to simpleprogrammer.com now, you can find. So I redid the podcast page, which I think looks pretty decent now, and I redid the products page. And thanks for your help on that one, Josh. I think it actually looks passable now.
Yeah. It would be slightly less of a miracle now if people will buy the 10 steps course before we finish our lunch.
Someone bought the How to Market today, so full price.
I have to say that sales page is pretty hilarious. The 10 steps, the current sales page.
Yeah, that's that guy I hired from, was it Colombia or Venezuela? I don't know. He's wherever he was
What
from.
could go wrong?
Yeah. And then I had put in the Simple Programmer podcast on the podcast page, and my wife was like, make it more exciting. Write it like you're writing it for Derek. So I was like, how would I write it for Derek? I was like, I would write something that's a little bit over the top and that he wouldn't want to actually publish, but he would because it's funny. So
exactly.
I said, the official Simple Programmer podcast, John Sonmez wants to help you become more successful, make more money, deal with difficult coworkers, and be so productive everyone thinks you must be abusing a prescription for Ritalin.
Perfect.
That's great.
So I also updated the resources page on Simple Programmer and put a ton of stuff there. I keep on hearing that resources pages are one of the most profitable pages on a blog. So my strategy, I think, is to just, as I think of stuff, keep putting stuff there, because the more stuff you have there, the more likely someone's going to buy stuff from there.
Mm-hmm.
And affiliate links or products or.
Uh-oh.
Chuck has gone silent.
You went silent on us.
Oh no.
Uh-oh. They are a lot of them are affiliate links. So for Bluehost or for a lot of them are Amazon links and stuff. So that's and Drip, of course, in there. I actually have a couple of people that signed up through Drip.
Nice.
Is that any better?
Nope.
Last week when this happened to John, I think he unplugged his mic and then
plugged it back in.
Plugged it back in.
No, he told Google Chrome to switch mics and then switch it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
That
it
was the fix. But yeah, I did that. I also updated the about page. So I think I've got some opt-ins on the about page. I took off the thing where it was popping up the default opt-ins. So there's specific opt-ins in the about page.
There's not 12 opt-ins anymore.
There's not 12. Yeah.
There are only 2
No, Chuck.
million.
No.
Yeah, Chuck, you're still sound pretty bad there.
This week in podcasting problems.
So yeah, so we'll see how that does. Now all the top nav though is like all of the links that you would click go to somewhere that doesn't look horrible.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was just like horrible.
Nice. They're like, what dark alley did I stumble into?
So yeah, we'll see if there's actually some sales from that and stuff now. And then next week is going to be my last week of like I'm getting stuff wrapped up before I take my hiatus from that stuff. And then I've got one thing that I really want to do is to track. I want to go take all the sign-up sources for my email list and put tags in from those sign-up sources. So either create separate landing pages, like in the Drip API, there's a way to, when someone signs up, to tag them immediately, so you can tag the source. Because I want to know, are people signing up from my pop-up on the web page, or how I want to know how effective Twitter is what I really want to know. Because I get about 20 to 40 signups, email signups a day. I should be getting a lot more than that, but if my pop-ups on my website are not driving a large number of those, then I might want to actually get rid of it, because I've been getting a hell of a lot of hate on Reddit because with me posting 3 blog posts a week, a lot of and different authors, they're of course submitting their own blog posts from Simple Programmer to Reddit, right? Which is causing them to go up on Reddit, as well as my stuff.
Oh, nice. You outsourced the Reddit spam.
Exactly. But the bad thing about that is now, as soon as it goes up on Reddit, they downvote the hell out of it, and then they're like, oh, it's one of those shitty sites where there's like stuff all around, and there's a pop-up. I read it, and I stopped reading. Like all this, spew. So.
I solved the Reddit problem by blocking Reddit. I'm serious. I installed a plugin into my website that if you come from Reddit, it will just redirect you to Google.
I hope you're not actually serious.
Yes, I am serious. Fuck
no,
Reddit.
You shouldn't do that.
Oh my
goodness! As much as I would love to do that.
Derek, you need to find like a better. Google's not the right place to send that. You need to send that traffic somewhere amusing.
Somewhere horrible.
Yeah.
I'll buy that traffic. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you really shouldn't do that though, Derek. You should, because I don't know. Like, I mean, I hate Reddit and Hacker News just as much as anyone who actually creates something. So someone who's actually not a worthless piece of shit. But I don't know. Like, you can't ignore that traffic. Like, it could be a significant source. I don't know.
Chuck,
But
you're still sounding pretty bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was totally tempted though to reply to someone on Reddit, like and just give them this huge rant. Like, I want to post this huge rant, like, to someone's comment one time, just like this 1-page long rant, and be like, you realize that every time you go to a friggin' website that has marketing or something, that's someone trying to make a living, jackass. Like, I know that you just sit here in your cush job in your pajamas, whatever, just commenting on tearing other people's crap down all day and just browsing Reddit instead of actually doing something productive with your life. But there's other people, like, when you see an ad on a site, that's because someone is trying to make money off of their idea. It's not because they want to pop up some crap in your face and annoy you. Like, they're supporting themselves. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
those who can't will just troll on Reddit.
Yeah. Like,
Well, but those people, they're evil one percenters and evil capitalists. So
Clearly.
So anyway, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I think I want to fix the opt-in situation eventually and make it not as in your face a little bit. I'm also concerned with guest posts because people are guest posting on the site. I've got the stomach for Reddit. But if someone is guest posting on my site and then they go and look at their article on Reddit and people are like complaining about I don't want it to.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
I've been thinking about trying the welcome mat out that Josh keeps talking about because I mean I've got the pop-up on my site and it's working really well for me. I'm getting 200 emails a month, but
so that's your main source of signups right now?
Yeah,
nice.
It is.
Well, let me tell you. So with mine, so I don't have a pop-up right now. I have a scroll box.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like kind of similar to the drip style thing. So I have got my conversion rate on the scroll box is 0.44%.
Ouch.
I've gotten 3 signups in about 3 weeks. 4 weeks. And then on the welcome mat, it's a little hard to tell because last week it was like 4%. Overall, it is 2.78%, but that's including a period of time where it was not as I had just this. I picked a random blog post. It was my Optimus Prime one. I was just like, I need to get a welcome mat up. So I was like, I just redirected the traffic for the welcome mat sign up to the and so like it was converting at like 1.8%. So I've got that. Those numbers are still polluting my overall rate. But yeah, it definitely seems better to me than a pop-up. And I have had 0 complaints about it. I don't think I got complaints on this list on my personal blog about the pop-up. The Sublime blog was another story. I'd get complaints there.
I've had one person complain about the pop-up so far, and they complained by entering a rather rude email address.
Nice.
Yeah.
I get those. Yeah.
But overall, I haven't had a lot of complaints, but I would prefer not to have a pop-up, and I think I'm going to try the welcome mat idea.
Yeah.
So the welcome mat, the difference is the welcome mat is there when you first get there, and you have to dismiss it in order to actually get to the article, right?
You can just scroll down.
Yeah, scroll down.
It almost kind of looks like the top of your website.
Right.
Okay.
Or you can click no thanks, and it takes you to the page.
How's that different than a pop-up, though? To me, that's the same thing. Is it just that it takes up more of the screen?
I think it's like you're reading, like with the pop-up, there's a few things with the pop-up. Like, pop-ups are always a pain on mobile.
Yeah.
No matter what. Like, the little X renders outside of your browser window. Or, there's like always something annoying and frustrating about it on mobile.
But also, you'll be reading the article, and then the pop-up comes up, and it suddenly covers up what you were reading, and it bothers you. It's like, I was reading that!
Yeah, it's more disruptive.
Right.
This is like, it's still disruptive. It's an extra click, like a hurdle you're putting in people's way, but
it's there not, at the beginning, and you can just scroll past it. It doesn't get in your way like a pop-up does.
Yep. Yeah. So.
Okay, it might be worth a try. But.
And John, like also, if you do try this, well, I guess you have to do SumoMe for this. Yeah. SumoMe lets you apply drip tags.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so you could like tag people. Actually, the way I typically do it is, well, yeah, never mind. I subscribe them. You have to pick the campaign. Well, you don't have to actually. You can just have them dumped into your system, or you can subscribe them to a campaign. And I subscribe them to a specific campaign. So you could do different campaigns for each entry point if you wanted, or you can just tag people either way.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And Drip actually even worked with. I asked Rob to work with them to get the to capture the time zone as well. So they capture.
Oh, nice.
The time zone. So yeah, you get the offset in there. Like if you care, I don't care about that at the moment for my list, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff that I'm not actually doing with the Thrive themes, the power of it. So I have to look into that some more too. But they just add this really awesome feature where you can make it so a subscriber, you can give a special thing to subscribers, and you'll either show them none of the ads or pop-ups, or you can show them a different one. So
Nice.
the cool thing about that is, like, if someone's already subscribed to your list and they see the pop-up to subscribe to your list or whatever, it's just a waste or annoys them at
Yeah.
the very best. But if you can now pitch them a special offer or something because you know they're subscribed, that's pretty cool. So, but I don't know. We'll see. Like I feel like I need to get. I mean, I know that what I need on this site is targeted lead magnets, like content upgrades, basically. That's probably going to give me the best return. Pick the best pages out, and then again, see there's a perfect Josh. To hire Josh to do is to get some content up, because there's a bunch of things like. And the reason why I say Josh is because I don't trust anyone else to do it right, but I trust Josh to do it right.
See, Josh, your marketing efforts to get John into a superfan have worked.
This started before I applied to Trackabout.
That's right. This was like a
I
multi-year
actually learned
get John
programming.
Sonmez.
I learned programming to get to where I am today. I didn't want to be a programmer, you know.
Yeah. But
the long con, right, John?
Exactly.
the really, really long
And
con.
now $500.
But yeah, if I do content upgrades, I think that would help. But
Yeah.
I'm getting so many people, 140, I guess 150,000 page views a month. Maybe it's like 90 to 100,000 visitors per month. I'm not capturing anywhere close to that.
You should be able to get like 3 to 5% of that probably.
I think so. I mean, some of it's repeat traffic, so maybe if you say that I have 60 to 70,000 brand new people per month.
Whoa, yeah, it's 3% of that would be 2,700 a month.
And right now, my email list, I capture, well, I'm like, I'm going to say 30 to 50 a day. I can't remember what, I think, or actually I've got it right here. I know exactly how much I'm growing per month. Let me see what that is. I think it's over, I think it's 1,200 per month is what I'm hitting right now. So I could be doubling.
You could definitely, so it's going to be, it'll be different, it'll be different traffic. It'll be different people. They won't probably be signing up for your blog course right away, but
yeah, everything now is like, that's the other thing, is it's all blog course, right? So
yeah.
So in a way, it's kind of because it's very targeted, but
yeah. Well, but you could that's not going to be the only way you want to pitch how to market yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you need to have multiple endpoints that all point to that.
Yeah, I get 1269. Oh, wait a minute. No, 1,076 subscribers like last month.
Okay.
But last month I pulled 1,300 subscribers on YouTube channel.
But that's also including Twitter. So.
Exactly. So that's why I got to break it out so I know how much is. I don't know if I'm even. I mean, am I converting people from Twitter? I'm not even sure. So I got to find that out. So that's my mission for next week.
Are you using Twitter cards?
No.
Like lead gen cards? You're not? Seriously?
That's on my list too. Is I got to sit down and figure out how to set that up and what graphic to use and stuff. So probably everything that you would mention is on my list of stuff. Do you think it's I haven't done but yeah.
Somebody just needs to kick your butt. Get you
motivated. Yeah, I think that's about it for me. And I think are we at time here?
Yeah,
just about.
Pretty much it.
Oh, so we got to have some thoughts for the week, for the day.
I'll start. So I turned. My son was sick and throwing up yesterday, so I turned on a movie for him so that I could come in here and start and watched it for a minute. It was Mr. Peabody and Sherman, and there was a part of the movie where Sherman is flying around Leonardo da Vinci's flying contraption, and so he flies past and he tells Mr. Peabody, "Hey, look, I'm flying." And Mr. Peabody looks up and says, "But Sherman, you can't fly." And immediately he starts to dive and they crash. And it's really interesting to me, especially where I'm starting to pivot into some unknown territories. For me, it's so important to keep that I can do this. Rather than have the mindset that I can't do this. Because the second I accept that I can't or that it's going to be too hard or impossible, that's when it's not going to work out. But when I'm positive that I can make it work, and I am pretty positive I can make it work, that's where I feel like things can really take off.
Yeah.
But it's mindset more than anything else. And if I can keep my head in the right place, then I can have success in the area I want to have success in.
So there's two phrases that I like for that. There's the ubiquitous, whether you think you can or can't, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite form of that phrase is do or do not. There is no try.
That's right. Yep.
I think I'll go next here. So, one thing that's been hitting me this week is I've been making this pitch for this discovery contract concept to a bunch of people, and I've just been I've just been impressed by you have to sell yourself first. If you're going to sell something to somebody else, you have to be sold on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been struggling with this, and I don't have the clear in my head what the value of this is. And so I'm working on that. Like I'm kind of refining. Okay, what am I going to do? What am I actually giving these people? And the more I do that, the more confident I'm like, okay, yeah, this is really something I can get behind, and I feel really good about this. The first couple of times I tried it, it was honestly just like the idea of just kind of getting people to make a micro commitment. If they give me $500, they're more likely to be, to want to be willing to give me more money later. And that's actually not anymore why I'm doing it. I'm really doing it just to kind of reframe my relationship with people. But in order to get there, I really have to believe in it myself. And so spend the time. If you're selling something, you got to dive into your own product and reinforce for yourself the value of it. And that's all I got.
Yeah. Dang it! I lost my train of thought. I had one. What was? I don't know. I've probably said this before, but your mailing list is your lifeblood. It's something that I've been relearning in the last couple of weeks, and we've talked about this a million times over the last few years about how you got to build up that trust, and you build up the fan, and build up all this stuff in your mailing list. And I spent the last 2 years building my mailing list without really taking advantage of my mailing list for Watch Me Code specifically. I've done the product launches and screencast bundle sales, and those have become super successful for me. But then I was never really pitching Watch Me Code, wasn't even talking about Watch Me Code, and was missing that real true lifeblood of my business on my mailing list because of that. Because I was assuming that, oh, well, of course everybody knows about this. Well, of course people understand what I do because they're buying my products, and that's part of. But no, it's whatever your main business is, that's the thing you need to be talking about all the time. And then if you have smaller products and bundles and things, then you talk about those occasionally.
Yep.
So it's your mailing list is your lifeblood.
Yep. Let's see. For me, I would say that that you shouldn't, that you shouldn't just keep doing something because you've been doing it. That's a dangerous trap to fall into. That there's a knife edge that you have to walk between being consistent and being deliberate. And I think that's a difficulty that I found myself in this trap of it's most people can't be consistent, and so I'm always preaching the virtues of consistency, but sometimes it can cause you to be stuck in a rut by being too consistent. And then you stop getting value, and then it starts to actually suck the life out of you. And I think that's what's happened with me is I became so consistent that it started to suck the life out of me. And so I need to break it up. I need to reevaluate why am I doing things, not just because I don't want to break the chain. That's not a good enough reason. It has to be because you have to have you shouldn't follow your passion, but you have to have some horse in the race. You have to have something that's driving you, and if you just start doing things for consistency's sake, you can start to lose that, and then you don't have the motivation to continue or to do a really really good job. So that's that's a mouthful, but that's my thought. All right, so same bat time, same bat channel.
Yay!
All right.
All right.
See you next week.
See you guys.
Bye.
Hopefully I'll see you better next week.